Hello, guys. You're listening to episode 6 of the Banana Boys podcast. I'm your co-host, Andrew Lee.
And I'm Jaden.
And today we've got a very, very special guest today. Super excited. He's an elite level golf player from the university. He's an elite level golf player, and he's played for the University of British Columbia. He's played for Midland College in Texas.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. And is currently playing for the University of Hawaii in Hilo. And this will be an historical episode, as this will be our very first guest.
Greatest golf podcast in the world.
The
no laying up who.
Golf podcast. Yeah. And he will be the greatest, maybe, a future PGA
probably not.
golf player. Please welcome Keith Ng to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast, Keith.
Thanks for having me, Andrew and Jaden. It's an honor. It's a pleasure, and I look forward to it.
Our very first guest.
So professional.
Yeah, you sound like you're right away. The camera's on. You're a different persona.
That's your media right there. The media training.
Yeah, freaking professional golf player.
Not yet, but
Not yet.
hopefully.
Not yet, hopefully.
Almost.
No, definitely.
Long road ahead, but yeah,
It's just a
we'll
matter
see where
of
it takes
time.
me.
Well, we're super excited. I know Jaden has a lot of questions, so
We got a lot of...
Fire away. I'd love to answer them.
Jaden plays a lot of golf,
Not very well.
but that's okay.
I'm like below a weekend warrior. Like
Well,
I golf like once a month probably.
Compare it to me, you're very good. As
So.
I,
To Keith, I'm absolute shit. So
well, there you go. So that's why he's here. You
I've
can ask
seen
him
your
stuff.
I've seen your golf TikToks. They're decent.
I mean, you did help me with my swing a lot in the beginning. I remember before you left Hawaii, you were helping me a lot.
Oh yeah, I remember that a little bit. Not too much. I'd say you're pretty natural at it, anyways. So
Thank you.
We got a good coach.
Yeah, he's good.
No, he's helped me a lot on my swing, but I'm still bad.
Yeah, you completely missed the ball in that one video.
It fit well. I
Throwing
gotta.
your shit on the floor.
I just wanted to ask Keith. You've been playing golf all your life, right? As a
not all my life really. I started.
Very young.
Would it be very in comparison to other athletes? Not that young,
When did you start?
right? Sort of in the middle, right? Most really elite athletes start when they're like 5, 6. I probably didn't take it up to the point where I was going to the range regularly, like on the weekends, till I was 10, right? And then I think I played my first tournament when I was 11 or 12. So
But 5 years old was when you started.
no.
5 years old is when usually elite athletes
Yeah,
start.
Oh.
usually like all the really elite athletes in the world, they always start like, oh, when I was 10, when I was 6,
But you got your first tournament at 12.
12. Yeah,
So that you consider that sort of late.
for sure. Right. There's a lot of 6 to 8-year-old divisions, 8 to 10, right? 10 to 12, right? And then 14 and under, and then 18 and under. So definitely to the scene, not super late, right? But not early for sure. Kind of sort of in the middle, right? Usually by 12 now, there's a lot of really good golfers at 12. I think there's been a little break in between probably 2005 to 2008 in terms of people being born in that time, right? There's not that many junior golfers right now, but if you look at the 10 to 12-year-olds right now, there's so many of them, and they've got like perfect swings, they got good coaching, and they got good course management coaches. So I think in the near future, we're going to see another boom and another wave of really good junior golfers, or at least in this area, right? I'm sure across the world there's a lot of good junior golfers right now, but in this area, they kind of got a little bit of a break.
And did you pick up golf because like your dad, or like why did you just pick up golf because you wanted to?
Yeah, I think none of my parents play golf.
Oh, really?
Nobody in my
I
family
just
plays golf.
assumed your dad played golf for some reason.
No, I think it's kind of funny because when I think about golf, I think the first thing I remember was being in like a restaurant with a TV. That's probably my first introduction. Was probably watching Phil Mickelson putting at a tournament. He was wearing all brown. I assume this was probably like the Houston Open. That's where I would guess he was playing. But that was my first time kind of seeing golf, and from there I kind of asked my parents like, hey, like, what's that on TV? Like, can I try it? From there I went on to
How old were you?
probably 8, 9,
Okay.
10,
Oh, wow.
something like that, right? So I think summer of that year, the year later, one of our childhood friends, Brian's dad,
Okay. Shout out to Brian.
yeah, plays golf, right? So he took Brian and I to the range, Richmond driving range,
Oh.
and I guess that's when they first started the ticket system, where it's not tokens,
Yeah.
right? Because I remember he bought like 4 buckets, and then we turned back, and we were like, wait a minute, they're not tokens, so they expire by the end of the day. So we went back, hit some more balls, using his dad's clubs and his clubs. And I think that summer, my parents signed me up for a summer camp through just Richmond camps.
Mm.
So we were at Hugh Boyd Park, West Richmond Pitch and Putt. So that was my
Yeah.
first lesson, introduction.
Oh, wow.
And the guy's name, funny enough, is Brian Yan, the instructor.
Your first instructor.
First instructor. I guess you can call it an instructor. But he probably doesn't remember me, but
Okay.
I remember what he looks like. It was
Right,
like
of
it
course.
was a group lesson, lots of kids. So we and Brian were in there running around. And yeah. And from there, it was about, I think it was either 4 days a week or it was once a week for 4 weeks. Either or. And then we got to play the mini golf course once. And then the next summer, through the same government program, there was a camp at Mayfair Lakes, which was my first introduction to Shingo and Carrie, which were the 2 coaches there for the kids camp. And the year after that, I ended up getting a junior membership at Mayfair. So from there, that's where it really took off, and I spent most of my summer days hanging out at Mayfair and hitting balls, going the course. So it kind of happened slowly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And after I got my first membership, I took lessons with Carrie, and I'd say after our second, third lesson in, she took me onto the golf course for the first time. So previously, I've never, even though I got a membership, I've never played on the golf course. I've always just been on the range
Okay.
or on the putting green. I've only played the pitch and putt.
Okay.
So my dad would always be there, and we'd always be like, "Oh, I don't know if you're ready for the big course yet." But Carrie took me out on the golf course, and I was like, "Whoa, like this is a big golf course." So that was my first introduction to a real golf course, and from there, me and my dad would just go around sunset and just go hang out on the course, play a couple holes, come back, have dinner at 9, and then repeat.
That's
so
insane.
that's where my introduction would be. It's
That came from you watching it on TV in a restaurant.
yeah. So
What was the restaurant?
I don't know, some dim sum place, and it was
Of
second
course.
level.
Right.
But one thing about it was, our parents didn't really get me that membership to Mayfair immediately, right? A lot of times I'd just be swinging a random stick in the house, right? Before I had golf clubs.
Stick.
Yeah, I never,
Not even a
'cause-
golf club.
Well, we didn't have golf
Okay.
clubs,
Golf
right?
clubs are expensive too.
That's true.
And before my parents, because I did piano at the time and all this other, Asian kid crap. So I don't think my parents were thinking of putting me into golf, but that's all I wanted to do. Because swing stuff around, swing sticks around the house, breaking things.
What made seeing golf on TV so interesting to you? Was it just something about it?
I honestly don't know.
It just
think
It
like
just
that
kind of
too.
happened,
Just
and I kind of
resonated with
liked
you.
it.
yeah.
I guess, like what I talked about yesterday, I like kind of being in control.
Yeah.
And I guess of all sports, I kind of had the most control, and it was very rewarding, right? I think in comparison to other things. Like piano, I played for a while, but like playing music, I guess was more rewarding to my parents than it was to me. But being able to do things to the golf ball, make it spin or just make it curve or just watch it. At that point, it was more of just hitting it on the center of the face. That kind of got me hooked. I was like, whoa, like look where it went.
Prior to that, were you exposed to other sports?
Yeah.
And just not the same feeling you got. From
Not the
seeing
same.
golf.
I really enjoyed badminton. That's what we did a lot. I think that's a sport that started when I was like 6 or even younger in the house, right? We got little kid rackets. So I did a lot of badminton in the house. I swam a lot.
Right.
Not too competitive, just more like within the swim club type
Sure.
of competitions. But I enjoyed swimming. I enjoyed badminton a lot. But ultimately, I don't think I was that good of a swimmer, and I wasn't that good of a badminton player. Most evident was trying to try out for the RC Palmer badminton team. Did not make it all 5 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, they're good. I tried one year. They're good.
I just
It's one of
remember
those things I felt like I was really good at, but
With
reality
those
check,
kids.
you're just not that good.
Uh,
Right? I had so much fun with badminton. I love badminton,
Yeah.
but
oh, wow. Okay.
you
So
know.
join tennis team instead.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Well, actually, it's funny because I don't remember the coach's name.
England.
Oh, the Scotolero?
Yes, Miss Scotolero.
Yeah.
So, grade 8 to grade 11, I try out, never made it. Grade 12, I try out. There's not enough good players, so I make it. And then she has a meeting with us, and she says, I don't think we have a very competitive team this year, so I'm not going to run one.
Oh,
So, which kind of like,
Yeah.
wait, that's.
defeats the spirit of competition, the spirit of sport. But
But you guys had the players?
oh yeah, we had enough players.
what the heck?
It's not hard to get enough players,
Oh,
right?
that's kind of stupid.
Well, to be fair, at the time, I think Richmond had a couple BC ranked players.
Tony
of course.
Faisal.
Like we,
yeah.
a lot of the international kids, I think, were very competitive badminton players
yeah.
back in their home country. So, yeah, she didn't want to run a badminton team, and I was like, oh.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
And then I just dicked around the RC Palmer tennis team.
Dude, it's kind of crazy, like hearing how you started golf, because I feel like it was the opposite of it. Like I started golf really early as a kid. Like I remember, for some reason, my dad took me to Richmond driving range too. I don't know if that's the only driving range in Richmond, but I remember going there as a kid, and like I remember taking lessons out in Vancouver, and I just did not like it.
Who'd you take lessons from?
I think it was in Musqueam. I
Musqueam.
think because my dad at the time was part of the Vancouver Golf Club,
Oh, okay.
so I think it was either Musqueam or Fraserview. It might have been Fraserview because my dad plays there a lot still, so it might be one of those like near Marine Drive courses. But like I remember, like I don't know much about what I was like at golf. My dad said I wasn't that bad back then, but like around the same age that you started golf is when I gave up golf. Like I started playing basketball. Like so, it's just weird. Like maybe just 10 to 12, maybe is when kids start like finding their sport. But like I feel like it's almost like opposites how our stories came about with golf. Because I didn't go back to golf till I think I was 18. Just for some reason, just I think watching like old Tiger clips, just watching, I'm like, damn, this guy's crazy. He's hitting like fairway bunker 200 out. He still like hits on the green or whatever. And I
Yeah.
think that's like that brought me back into it.
Yeah.
But it's crazy seeing how you started golf, and it's just like, damn, like this guy started the same age as me almost, but like fucking, he's way better than me and all this shit. And like man, it's just probably natural talent too, but it's just like crazy.
Yeah, I think golf is one of those things you spend so much time by yourself,
Yeah.
right? A lot of sports like tennis, you can like hit against the wall, not
Yeah.
the same, right? But golf, you can really work on things, work on everything on your own. And it's the same as competition, you're on your own,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool, right? So you can really spend a lot of time. It's funny you talk about the Tiger clips, right? I think that's where a lot of kids
Yeah.
get started, right? On YouTube, there's so many highlight reels and the Masters, right?
Yeah.
There's so many shots, and you can go all the way back to like Jack Nicklaus era and
Yeah. Arnold Palmer too.
Arnold Palmer too. So yeah, I'd say that's where I got pretty hooked too, because some of those shots, right, kind of crazy. And obviously, when you're a kid, you want to reenact
Yeah.
those shots. And another thing was Phil Mickelson was my
He was
favorite
really good.
player. Yeah, growing up,
Yeah.
because he's the type of guy to
He's
play
ballsy.
really boldly.
Yeah.
When he sees like a gap and things, he'll go for it. and he'll pull it off too,
Yeah.
right? Now that I've played more tournaments and kind of from different perspectives, like, whoa, those are really, really gutsy shots.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not the percentage play,
Yeah.
right? But he pulled them off,
Yeah.
right? Statistically, you would lose doing that 10 times in a row,
Yeah.
but pull it off and it only takes one shot.
It's crazy too, because like a lot of people like grew up watching Tiger clips, right? But I know for a fact, like if I stuck to it and played the same amount that you did, I would not be nearly as good. So it's just like golf is such a mental sport. Like you either got it or you don't. I feel like.
Yeah. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard
right.
to say,
It's
right?
really hard to say. Sometimes people just do it, right? Nick Faldo didn't start golf until he was 14, and I think he won 6 majors, right? 3 Masters and 3 Opens, right? And he started when he was 14,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you think about it, he's a beginner at 14,
Yeah.
and
I
the
mean,
learning curve was just so steep.
How old was Bubba Watson when he started, if you know?
I don't know.
Because I remember he grew up like curving shots around his house.
Yeah.
Which is some ballsy shit to do.
Yeah, Bubba Watson went to community college too.
Yeah.
So that's another one of those players went through JUCO and then went to Georgia and is pretty obviously a really good player, 2-time Masters champion.
Keith, you mentioned to me earlier this year or sometime that you're like, now that you're playing at Hawaii or like just recently, you've become more focused on, you sort of have that mindset shift of, okay, you actually have to work hard and really see where all of this is going to go.
For sure.
Right. And I'm just wondering like I don't know if I asked you that, but I forgot. Even if I did, I don't remember what you said, but what contributed to that mindset shift? Like what changed and what made you think, oh,
Aging.
aging,
Maturity.
maturity?
The fact that, I really feel like an adult now. Whereas before it's like, when I was at Mayfair, I was pretty sheltered very well from competition. It was always like, oh, you're pretty good or this. It's like, wow, you're only 14. And then, wow, you're only 15, 16, 17. And then next thing you know, you're 18, 19, 20. And now I'm like, whoa, I'm turning 22 this year. Right. And you look at it like, hey, you're not that young anymore. And it's sort of your window of opportunity is kind of closing. And I think while I'm still in college and, I have all these facilities and all these coaches, it's kind of, it's more of a now or never type of thing, right? For me, it feels like, even though it might not be for golf, because you can still turn professional when you're 30, 40, right? Your prime is much longer
Right.
than in other sports. But I feel like while we're still relatively young, without financial responsibilities, it's a good time to kind of go for your dreams, right? So I think definitely aging and realizing that, just the window of opportunity is closing, and I should kind of give it my best effort and kind of look for new ways to improve rather than just stick with my old ways, play kind of half decent and finish in the middle of the pack and call it a day, right? So, I'm excited. It's fun, right? I'd say the pandemic kind of helped a little bit too. I think I mentioned that to you where for the summer of 2020.
You were still UBC? No, you were in Texas.
No,
Wait.
Texas was fall 18,
Oh, right.
spring 19.
Texas first. Yeah.
Fall 19, spring 20. So fall 2019 at UBC, I played quite poorly, right? Really middle of the pack, bottom middle of the pack when I played in tournaments. So it was a big wake-up call, as in like, hey, you're not that good. You kind of have to work at it a little bit. And then the pandemic hit. And with no tournaments, you can really work on things without worrying about performing in tournaments because there are no tournaments, right? So it really gave me time to work on what I really wanted to work on, which was speed and distance. But all the golf courses were closed. So I put up a net in my backyard, kind of mowed the grass as low as possible, and I'd just be dinging drivers into this net. So working on speed, I kind of had like this heavy weighted dowel that would swing. And yeah, that would be my speed resistant training, right? So it'd be a lot heavier, hard to swing faster, and then I'll go back to my driver, make some really quick swings, and hit balls into this net. So did that for a couple of days, couple of weeks, and then when the courses opened back in April, late April,
Somewhere around there. March,
or
April.
yeah, well, March is when things shut down, right? I think March 14, 15.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Maybe April, May.
Yeah, so April, May, got to the golf course, and I was like, whoa, it really makes a difference, right? And then I played, I think, the BCM that year. It was at the Okanagan Club. 3-day event, really hot. That was another steep learning curve, right? I kind of struggled a little bit on the last day. But I played pretty well. I was only 3 back of the leader heading into the final round. And then I didn't play too well in the final round, so I learned a lot about myself and how to control myself on the golf course. Ended up, I'd say, around 15-ish. But I started off, I think, T3rd for the day. So definitely dropped quite a few places, even though statistically it was the easiest day to play. That was a little bit disappointing, but definitely took a lot of learning there. And then COVID continued. So we didn't have much of a season at UBC 2020 fall. 2021, nothing. And in May, I guess I haven't really shown myself enough to kind of be, seen as a top player. So I didn't really have anywhere to go. And I gave a call to the Hawaii coach, and luckily he gave me a chance. And here we are. Played one fall semester, by far the best collegiate semester of my life, right?
You said 3 out of 5?
Yeah, so I won.
Crazy.
I won my first tournament against a player that was a big fish in that pond.
Wow.
He played in the U.S. Amateur. He won conference,
Oh, jeez.
right? So he was the guy to beat. And going in there, I was kind of like, whoa, like this is the guy. And it was funny because I wasn't number 1 on the starting lineup for a team heading that tournament. I was number 2. And funny enough, he was number 2 on the starting line, which was kind of came off a little crazy, right? Because he was by far the best player on the team. But what I heard was he was working on his distance, right? And it kind of got him out of rhythm, out of sync a little bit, so he didn't qualify as number 1 on their team. But anyways, we played the first round, and I was like, whoa, like this is kind of doable. Like I just kind of stick to my game plan, do that. And so after the first round, I was 2 back. He was 1 under, I was 1 over. And then the next day we were paired together again. So I was like, oh, here we go. Like this is what I came here for, right? Playing with the big fish and kind of try to learn from him or kind of see where my game stacks up. And that's when I realized that you kind of just have to stay in your lane and kind of play your own golf, I guess. After the first hole, hit out of bounds, and he made bogey, I made birdie, so there we go, we're even. So the round, just dilly along. I ended up shooting 4 under for the day, and I ended up winning by 4. Although this wasn't a big tournament, right? But there was a D1 team in there, and then other D2 teams. So that was my first kind of real collegiate win. In the fall of 2020, we kind of had like these 1-day tournaments at UBC, and I won one of them, but it was with like a limited field, like 30 players max.
Okay.
But this one was, I guess, was a little bit more, in my view, a little more legitimate. But it was still just a 2-day event, right? And then we traveled to Seattle a couple weeks later, and we played 2 of the Seattle tournaments, which are pretty big, St. Martin's and Western Washington. And here we go again, right? I shot the best 9 holes of my life during the second round of the first Seattle tournament. I shot 29.
Okay.
So I was 8 under for 10 holes, actually. Jeez. So I was like, whoa, like that was kind of a different feeling. You kind of just chug along and you hit them and you make them. You're like, oh, okay. And you just keep going. And 8 birdies later, I'm 10 under. And then I make a couple bogeys, a couple of dumb mistakes. Just a little too much flag hunting and anyways, miss some greens. So I finished up 6 under, and I was 2 under for the tournament total. And I was, what, 4 back? 4 back a lead, 5 back a lead. And here I was again, playing with the big fish. Final round in Seattle. So it was a bit of a rematch, I guess. But I was playing with him. He was, I think, 2 shots ahead of me starting the day. And the whole day I was trying to catch him, right? And that was, in hindsight, really dumb, right? Because like I said, all you have to do is stay in your lane, play your golf, and, let it take care of itself. Chasing him all day, and I kind of like, oh, shoot, lost to him. And I didn't feel like he played that well. And he didn't play that well. But it was good enough for him to get in the playoff, and eventually he won, right? So that was a big learning curve, as in like, hey, if you played your game today and you just kind of made a few putts, you don't have to putt amazing, you could have been that playoff, right? So I think the coaches there really nailed that into my head, as in like, that's not the way to play. You don't chase other players when you play. You just stay in your lane, put a number on the scorecard, and you move on. So 2 days later, we drive up to Bellingham. This is the Western Washington Invite. Play the first round, whatever, made a couple mistakes, made a couple birdies. So I think I was 1 under. And it was really wet. Like, I didn't have any rain gear. I didn't even have pants. I went to the local Dick's Sporting Goods right after, like after the practice round, shirt was wet. It was so wet, it's not even funny. Like I said, all I had was an umbrella. And the rain up in the Pacific Northwest. It doesn't stop. It lingers for like 10 hours. And all I had was shorts, an undershirt, a pullover, and a summer bucket hat. So it wasn't even a waterproof bucket hat. So I drive straight to Dick's Sporting Goods, and I go look for a rain suit. Well, first I went in the pro shop, look for a rain suit. It was $600. I was like,
Okay.
Whoa. No. So I go to Dick's Sporting Goods, and I don't have anything that I want, and it's $200-$300. So I'm like, I have a rain suit at home. I just didn't bring it. And when the borders closed, because Bellingham, pretty close to Richmond, I could have told my parents, hey, can you bring my rain pants and my rain jacket? But the borders were closed, so they couldn't do that. So I kind of went back to the hotel, kind of prayed to God a little bit. And I guess God listened to my prayers. The next day, it was scheduled for rain the whole day.
Okay.
And like I said, I only had shorts.
Okay.
So look at the sky.
Look at the sky.
And
Just keep going.
And it was gloomy. So I was a little scared. But luckily, it literally didn't rain.
Jeez.
Well, it did rain, but towards the very, very end, it was manageable.
Yeah.
So here I am, 1 under on the day, and I am tied with the big fish again. 3 tournaments in a row.
Okay.
Right, where we're both in contention. And he actually might have had a 1-shot lead. I wasn't tied. He was 2 under. I was 1 under. Course was really soft. Course was playing long. We tipped it out.
Yeah.
So it was difficult, right? Windy. And the second round got off to a bad start. I was 2 over through 4. So it put me at 1 over for the tournament. In my mind at the time, I'm like, oh, shoot. I let another one go in Seattle against this guy. But instead of trying to catch him, right, I had the assistant coach with me the whole time, really helped me out. I kind of thought of like, just play more for the team, right? Because at the end of the day, it is, for me playing college, it is a team sport, right? I want to contribute to our team score, try to see how high we can finish as a team, right? So I kind of chugged along. And towards the end, right, if you just pick your targets and do your best, some putts will fall eventually. And I ended up birdieing a couple holes down the stretch. Made some key putts, birdied my second last hole, and then on my last hole, which is a par 3, I didn't do enough homework. I kind of didn't know where to miss, but we hit a shot. I'm in the rough, got 4 yards of green to work with. I kind of have to semi-flop it.
Okay.
And had a 4-footer left, up the hill, left to right. And it's one of those weird feelings of golfers when you made so many short putts.
Yeah.
They feel like, well, statistically, I'm supposed to miss one.
Yeah.
So that one I had the really eerie feeling, but I just picked my spot, hit my line, whatever happens, happens. Ended up making it.
So you chipped it in.
No.
Oh.
I got up and down.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah.
And the guy that was keeping score today was like, was this your first win? And I was like, win? Like, I was kind of shook because I've never thought about winning the tournament because I got off to a bad start and I kind of just grinded out at even par 72. And I didn't think it was enough because this guy was so good and he won the week before and he had the hot hand, right?
Yeah.
I felt like he's such a solid player, solid ball striker that on a golf course like this where it's kind of soft, he would eat it up. But that goes to show you stay in your lane. You never know what's going to happen. And I ended up winning by 1. And all those putts down the stretch really meant a lot, even though at the time I didn't because I wasn't trying to chase anyone. I was just trying to do my best and kind of play for the team. So that really taught me a lot of staying in your lane, as in winning does require luck, but if you stay in your lane, you never know what's going to happen. And because at this D2 level, it's not like a super elite PGA Tour level or super elite amateur level, right? You don't have to force things to happen to win, right? Obviously, the talent pool gets a lot tighter when you're on the PGA Tour or really elite amateur events where you really have to get lucky. You have to hit good shots. You're going to make some big putts for you to win. But when we break it down like that, we're playing more regional tournaments, right? Different collegiate tournaments. You don't always have to do that, right? Obviously, sometimes somebody's really hot on the golf course and you just can't beat them, right? But sometimes you play your game and you just never know. So I think that was a huge lesson for me this semester, which is what really inspired me, right? As in what I've worked hard for started showing results. So it's really fulfilling, right? That like, hey, like it does kind of work. You just have to stick with it. And this is a small stepping stone in comparison to all the levels they are, right? So then you can just only build on it, right? Try to play in a bigger tournament, bigger tournament.
So I'm just thinking to circle back, it seems like you're very reflective and, self-aware of your games. Like he seems to be aware of, what went wrong and you learn from it.
You have to.
Is it because you started to take things more seriously that you started thinking like that?
Yes and no. I'd say COVID. I always refer to COVID as, for me at least, right, where relatively healthy and not much going on in my life, that it is a blessing in disguise, right, to take a pause and kind of reflect, right? For a lot of people, it's not the same, right? That's why I go back on not having financial responsibilities. If you have financial responsibilities during COVID, it's a really, really tough time.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, there's just not much going on, right? I don't have to pay rent, stay with my parents, can eat their food. If I don't have a job, I'll be fine, right? And you got your CESB for me, or student benefit, right? That'll keep me going, buying food, right? Paying for things. So I got really lucky that way to kind of take time, not do anything, and have a lot of time to reflect on my game and where I'm at and where you could be, right? If you take a better approach to your game instead of, a lot of people say if you keep doing what you're doing, you'll keep getting what you're getting, right? So during this quarantine time or this break or this quiet time, you can kind of look at what you've been actually doing and see if you actually like what you're doing, right? Sometimes with so much going on in life, you kind of just do it and you don't really think much about it. But when you have so much time off, you can kind of reflect as in, do I really like doing this, or am I doing it the way I want to? And the answer is no, then change it, right? Exactly. Do something about it. And this was such a good time to do it because like I said, no tournaments. You can do it. You don't have to perform, right? At the time, I really thought that if you make changes, right? Oh, what if like I'm not good at this technique by the time at the tournament? And it helped me realize that, hey, it doesn't really matter, right? The tournament is just there to kind of test how well what you've been doing under pressure, right? Whereas before it's kind of like, I have to perform, right? But you don't. You just play, you hit the golf ball and you go find it and you hit it again. So
that COVID made you more reflective.
Definitely.
Even after games too, right?
Yeah.
Reflecting on the games.
Definitely very reflective on the games, and it kind of helped me look for different ways to improve.
Prior to that, then before, you weren't as reflective, and also, like you said, you didn't take it as seriously. And did you not take it as seriously? Is it because you were already relatively pretty good,
No.
even before the training?
No, I think I thought I was
Or
good,
you? Okay.
or I didn't think I was good, but I don't know why I didn't take it seriously. Maybe I took it seriously, but in hindsight, it wasn't serious at all.
You thought it was.
Yes. It's like doing something and you think you're working really hard, but you're looking back
Sorry.
on it, it wasn't hard work at all.
But then you saw like your performance.
Well, because
right?
pre-COVID, there's so much going on in your life. You can go downtown, I could work on school, I can hang out with my friends, right? So managing my time that way, I felt like I was working hard, but looking back on it, I was just blindlessly practicing. There wasn't much intent to it, and I didn't get much feedback out of practice, which is kind of what I've been really working on since reflecting, as in when you practice, you have to have intent going in and you have to have feedback. If you don't, you might as well just stay home and think about it.
Yeah.
Because it really doesn't, well, obviously, if more repetitions, your swing will be a little bit smoother, but in terms of kind of getting performance out of it, I think that really helped me a lot. I just kind of went to practice for the sake
You just had to
of
go.
practicing. Yeah,
But like you said, even when you play the tournaments and you didn't perform as well, you didn't go like, oh, I did something wrong. I should be training harder. Or is it because you already thought you were training hard?
I think to define training harder,
Or
I definitely spent a lot of time on the golf course.
okay.
But I don't think that meant I trained very hard. Like I talked about, I would just blindlessly hit balls or blindlessly do putting drills.
It's kind of like in ball, like when we practice ball, right? If we're not practicing at game speed, that's like bull. Like there's no point practicing then, because you're not practicing for the actual game.
But I'm wondering, it's like, oh, let's say I played a game and it's like, oh, I did so bad. And I'm like, okay, maybe my practice needs to change.
No,
And I'm just wondering, like, did Keith?
Sometimes in golf, like you just lose just because they're better. So it's not always you.
Yeah.
Sometimes the field is just better. Like
Yeah.
sometimes maybe the guy's just birdieing every hole. Like you can't catch that guy.
That's true.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know. I think I was still probably relatively young, I
Okay.
guess. Not for age, but I guess mentally. I was very young, very naive, very dumb.
Sure.
I just felt like I had time. And I guess with COVID, it made me feel like, hey, you don't have as much time as you think. And if you actually want to make it happen, you have to work really hard. And working hard the right way. It's not about spending time on something. It's about having a good approach to it and maximizing the time that you work on something.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's the same with you too, right? With what you do.
Sure.
Sometimes you spend a lot of time on something, doesn't mean it'll be something
No.
really good, right? You kind of have to take a good approach to it, think it out, and see what happens, right? And I think that's what really learning is to me recently, is not just going in there, right, and just doing whatever, right? Is to have a plan, try to execute the plan, and if it doesn't work, then you kind of learn as into what went wrong in the plan, right? Or what I should be doing.
And then work on that in practice. So
right.
then you're practicing with intention.
Yes.
And not
yes.
coasting.
So that's been really important to me. And I think that's what I'm trying to carry into the new year and into the tournaments coming in, is to kind of more intent. I've been working on my fitness more intent rather than just working for the sake of working out.
Well, clearly it's working, right? You want so many tournaments.
Yeah. For now, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely every tournament I was still learning more about myself, right? Before I play in these tournaments, and because I finished in the middle of the pack, it's more like, hey, you're so far in the middle of the pack that everything could use improving, right? It's not just one thing. Like, you're bad at everything. That's why you're in the middle. But now that you're closer to the top of, I guess my division, I guess, with the group of players I'm playing, it's more like, oh, hey, to separate yourself a little bit more, you have to do this a little bit better. This is really close, but this needs to be better. Rather from before, it's kind of like, wow, you could do everything better. You're not good, right? So into the spring, we have a little bit tougher competition, tougher schedule, which is what I was looking forward to. Hopefully, if Omicron kind of...
Omarion.
Yeah, if it doesn't change any of our plans, right, then I'd like to apply what I've learned in the fall or what I've learned in college. Because every year, I'd say I've learned quite a bit. In Texas, was my first time kind of living on my own. New cultures, playing with really good players. And that was UBC, was taught me a lot of time management. Managing school, managing golf, right? Managing social life. Because I really felt like UBC was a great place. Like downtown was just a bus ride away, close to home, right? Lots of people get to socialize. So you really have to balance that, right? What do you really want, right? You can have everything there, but it's tough to balance performance and socializing. And then here I am in Hawaii. It's really quiet, right? Not much to do at night. It's really dark. School's online.
Really dark?
Yeah.
Like at night?
Yeah.
There's no lights? Or like no like street?
Very minimal
city life?
because we have the telescope. I think one of the bigger telescopes is in Hawaii.
Is there public access to that?
I think it's for research.
Not like a tourist.
No, it's not like a tourist telescope.
You can look at it from afar, but I don't think you can
But
actually
you
go
can
in.
okay.
So the moon's really bright there.
Yeah.
And so many stars.
What do they call it?
at night.
Observatory?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so there I could really focus on golf, and it was just really quiet, so there's really not much to focus on other than golf. So that's why I say that I've never taken it more seriously than I have now, because the approach I'm taking is much more serious, right? While having fun, obviously, but I've never made more plans as to how I want to dissect each area of my game and try to improve it.
It seems like that quiet Hawaii environment helps with that.
Yeah, it helps me reflect even more because it's all I can do.
It's a huge opposite from UBC to Hawaii.
Yeah. UBC, like on the weekends, we'd go out, come back at like 2-3 a.m., and then you get pretty poor sleep, and then you do it all over again, right?
What do people in Hawaii do then?
At least on the big island
chill.
where I am, is just kind of chill, hang out.
Meditate.
That's one thing I've heard that a lot of performers do. Meditate.
Yeah.
But I'd be lying if I said I tried it.
No better place to try than Hawaii.
It's quiet.
It's quiet.
Right? But like so many elite, like Kobe talks about it too, right?
Yeah,
Meditating. LeBron. But it's kind of like, do I really sit there 10 minutes in the morning and kind of control?
It's just like mindfulness.
Yeah.
You know? It's like hearing your thoughts, and then whatever that means.
Yeah.
Right.
How do you feel about because before golf was like this like very snobby, like you gotta be rich, this, that, and the third and stuff like that. Now you got like Bryson DeChambeau has a YouTube channel, Kyle Berkshire YouTube channel, like all these like, I guess golf's much more like on YouTube and stuff like that, on TikTok, Instagram, stuff like that. It seems much more like a youthful, like fun sport, and like that hoodie thing came up, I think last year.
Yeah, that was funny.
It's like, how do you feel about the whole cultural shift, or do you think there is one, or it's just some fake social media thing? Like, what do you think?
What's the hoodie thing?
You want to talk about
Actually,
it?
sorry, you can.
You can talk about it.
Basically, I think it was 2020.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. I believe it started with a PGA player. He wore a hoodie when receiving his trophy, I think, right? And it created this huge debate because traditionally golfers, like you see Arnold Palmer back then, Phil Mickelson too, they wore dress shoes or dress clothing
when
to play golf. It was a very
Okay.
high-end, high-class type of thing. So when I think Justin Thomas or someone of that caliber wore a hoodie to receive his trophy, everyone's like, yo, why is he wearing a hoodie on the course? Like, that's not professional. That's not true to golf's roots, this, that, and third. And created this whole internet debate about whether or not you should wear a hoodie while playing golf on the golf course.
Oh, when was this?
This is 2020, I think.
Yeah, it's funny because way back, I don't know if you know the name Ryan Moore.
Don't know, but I may have seen him.
Ryan Moore was another unreal golfer.
Mm-hmm.
When in college, he's one of those players that was Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods,
Okay.
Phil Mickelson caliber. He won, I think, one summer 2004. He won the U.S. Amateur, the U.S. Public Links, and the NCAA.
Okay.
So to win the U.S. Amateur and the NCAA championship in the same year, I think only Jack and Tiger has done it.
Mm.
So then now you got your third, Ryan Moore.
Okay.
Anyways, but Ryan Moore, I've seen him wear hoodie-like attire on the golf course.
Yeah.
But I don't think that he won or was as big of a name as, let's say, Justin Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But going back to your question about cultural shift, I think it's refreshing, I guess. I think golf is much more inclusive than it was, which is good to see. I think it's a great game to play. I think that someone like yourself who started when you're young, can pick it back up when they're 18, can drop it off again and pick it back up when they're 40, right?
Yeah.
Hard to say that about a lot of sports, right? But golf is one of those things where you can do it till you go down.
Mm.
So I think being more inclusive is good. I think it can continue to work towards to be more inclusive, which is what it's doing. But I think it's good that it's more inclusive, right? Brings more people, brings more fans, brings more interest. I think even when I was in high school, it's seen more as an old person thing to do. And I think now it's with COVID and a lot of things shutting down, the range is one thing you can do outside. I think it brought a lot more young people into the game.
Yeah.
Kind of brought more interest into it. And yeah, I'd say, is it an old person game? It can be, I guess. But like anything, to perform at an elite level, there's always some physical attributes to it, right? With everything, right? If you have a physical advantage, it is an advantage, right? So yes, just because you can play it as an old person doesn't mean, you can beat someone with good technique and athleticism on the golf course.
What's your favorite brand? Like for driver irons, like what are your favorite brands for those specific clubs?
Oh, loaded question.
I know you swung a lot of different clubs before.
Yes. I really don't have one.
No?
Oh.
I like Odyssey putters. I'll say that for sure. I used to really like Vokey wedges, but the new wedges look kind of funky. They kind of look like a spoon.
SM8?
Yeah, the SM9
Oh,
was
nines.
SM50?
was very spoon-like, and I didn't know how much I liked that. But Titleist golf balls was always
Pro Vs?
Yeah, Pro V1s. Irons, I've been playing Mira for 2 seasons now.
Okay.
And yeah, they're fantastic. Probably So it's funny you bring that up, equipment, and then talk about Mira. So I'm sure you probably heard about this, about Tiger's.
Oh, his Mira clubs, right?
His Mira clubs, his Titleist.
Mira clubs.
Right. So I've talked to one of the people in Mira about it.
Okay.
And obviously they can't disclose.
Yeah.
But what they did say is during that time, Titleist did order a set of blades from Mira. And Mira is just like, okay, here you go. But what you do with it is what you do with it.
Yeah.
But you ordered a set of blank blades from us. Here you go. So that's all I know.
Yeah.
Right. Tiger played Titleist blades.
Yeah.
But Titleist did order blades from Mira. So whatever happened in between then, who knows?
Yeah.
Other than them, they know. But yeah, that's another crazy thing in the golf industry.
I think it was Adventures in Golf. He Eric Anders Lang, I think his name, went to the Mira place and asked the owner about that question. He didn't say yes, he didn't say no. He was just like,
yeah,
it is what it is, man.
He said the same thing.
Yeah.
Titleist ordered blades from us, and that's all I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a bladed guy then?
No.
No?
When I was younger, yes, I tried to swing blades, but now that I take performance much more into it, it's kind of like I'm not good enough for it. right?
Really?
I'm not going to hit the sweet spot every single time. I'm not getting the good launch that I'm getting. I'm not getting the ball speed, right? So, yes, it's a very consistent club if you hit it in the same spot every time. But if you don't, then it's not going to be very consistent for you.
Because I play with blades right now. That's why I'm asking. Because I used to play with my dad has 2 sets.
Yeah.
Nike Vapor Pro blades, like a straight blade, and he has the T100s. T100s, I felt like ballooned way too much. Like they were way too spinny for me. Like I can't even hit hybrids anymore. Like I hit a 3-iron instead because I think it's how fast I hit it. I don't know. But I found with the Nike irons, like it hurts like a bitch in the winter if I miss it. I don't touch the 4-iron in the winter, but I just feel it's much more satisfying. I feel I can control it much more.
Yeah, it's probably the shaft has a big component to it.
Yeah.
We can talk about equipment all day, but let's not
Seems
try
like
to do that because it is a very boring conversation.
This is interesting. If you guys are into golf, this would be the best episode to listen right now.
Yeah, but with the blade, there's less mass behind the ball, so that would contribute to the launch being a little bit lower, and because of that, it is less forgiving.
Yeah.
Right? There's just a smaller area to hit. The sole is much narrower, so it will dig.
Yeah.
It's not going to glide as much as the T1. Although the T100 isn't an easy club to hit either.
Yeah.
It's kind of that player's improvement club.
Yeah.
Not the super game improvement. But I worked for a golf equipment brand last year, and I really enjoyed hitting all the game improvement stuff. Right? Because normally, as a player, you go in, you want to get like all this performance stuff. But the game improvement stuff is super fun.
Yeah.
Because for me, the feeling was I just kind of have to throw the club head at it, and then it'll launch in the air, and it'll spin. It's kind of like, whoa. Hey, it's kind of really fun. Right? You don't have to do much. You just have to swing and just know that the golf ball is going to go where you're going to go. The face is really hot, so the thing's going to come out of the super ball speed. So it's fun that way. I'd love to actually play a full round with super game improvement clubs and kind of just dick around and see what happens.
Because that's why the way it came out of the face, that's why I switched. Because I was at Musqueam, I hit a par 3, I think it was 160 out. Tiny bit of wind. I hit a pitching wedge. It freaking aired the whole green, went straight into a bush. And I'm like, okay, I'm about to hit a 52 degree from fucking 160 with no wind. Like that's what killed it for me. I was like, I can't do these anymore.
I don't know. We hit a lot. That's pretty good.
But it doesn't have to be golf. And talk about life.
Yeah.
We need you for life.
I mean, my question was more life questions.
That's another life question.
That's another life question.
I feel like we need Keith back for a life one because I feel like you got a lot of shit on you.
Life question.
What has golf taught you in life?
God's taught me a lot of things in life, if you really want to ask it. One of the first things comes up is patience. Golf is a game of patience. You can't force anything. The more you try to force something, the more it'll go into the shits, right? And competition, not competition, patience. Taking up the game, a lot of patience. As you know, like I think it's one of those things where it's the hardest to get started.
Yeah.
Because there's so many components, right? There's putting, there's so many rules, so many different clubs. And for someone that starts out knows nothing about it, that's pretty hard. There's so many things to remember. Whereas like soccer, kickball into net, right? Or
That's
kickball
why it's
into
the biggest sport in the world. Yeah.
Exactly, right? Or like basketball, you're trying to get the ball into the hoop, right? But golf is kind of like, yes, you're trying to get the ball into the hole. And then you got 14 other pieces of equipment, right? And then you got different grasses.
Ball's
right?
only so big, the hole's only so big. It's
right? And it's
100
so
plus
far
yards.
away.
So far away.
Like you put someone on the golf course and they try to get them on home, they're gonna be like, where?
Yeah.
Because you can't see it. There's a flag sticking out of it. But lots of patience. If you can start off playing golf, and you need a lot of patience to do so. And I guess that's what's really taught me the most. Patience, and relating it back to life is that you need a lot of patience in life too. Not everything's gonna go your way, and when things don't, you have to be patient, and you just kind of have to see it through.
You also like being in control, right? Which is why you like golf.
Yes. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, I think golf, of all sports, you are in control.
Mm-hmm.
Even you can get like unlucky breaks, but at the end of the day, you made contact with a golf ball and it went there.
So has golf sort of taught you accountability?
Yeah, I
Right.
would say so.
Yeah.
100%.
Everything's your fault besides weather. But
Besides weather, even then, you decide to be on the golf course at that time.
really, even when you're playing games and tournaments,
Yeah.
that's not. Oh,
Rain
really?
or shine.
Well, at the same time, it's kind of like everyone is in the same conditions.
Yeah.
So there's really no excuses.
Okay. that's
Obviously, like morning, afternoon waves. I think we touched on that yesterday. Like it could be super windy in the afternoon
true. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because usually in the morning it's pretty calm. So that's why I want to play in the morning. It's calm, perfect conditions. In the afternoon, the wind can pick up, and the golf course can be a little bit more baked out if it's really hot. Right, that's why it's a little bit tougher. But usually there is a 2-day morning afternoon, so they try to make it a little bit more fair. But at the end of the day, you just have to get the
But
ball.
everyone plays in the same condition.
Yeah,
I feel
similar
like integrity
conditions.
too, because a lot of people say they hit it 300 yards, but they're not hitting it 300 yards.
Yeah,
The integrity is important.
integrity is super important, and it's funny you bring that up too because the first time I was at the range with Brian's dad,
Mm.
I was like, "Whoa, that just went 250." Well, because I was probably like what 4'3",
Yeah.
100 pounds. So when I look up and the ball's in that general direction, I'd be like, "Oh wow, I just hit a 250." Whereas just because it's going towards the sign,
Yeah.
and the buckets were probably too tall, and once it got over the bucket, you're like, "Oh, there it is, 250." And then I think about it, I was like, "Holy smokes, I can't believe I said that." Like that ball probably went 35
Very
yards, especially starting out.
Yeah.
But yeah, integrity is another big one. Kind of blanking out. What has it taught me?
That's okay. Well, if we want to talk about other stuff outside of golf, what do you do outside of golf? Because obviously balance is very important, right?
Yes.
Obviously focus on your career and everything. Obviously this will be your career. I think there's no question
Hopefully.
about it. No question about it. No doubts here.
A long way away.
Very honored to have you here because, look back 5 years, 10 years from now.
Hopefully,
Oh my
yeah.
God, look, that's key thing on the Banana Boys podcast. And hopefully we'll be somewhere too.
Hopefully NCAA compliance does not see this
Yeah,
one.
but that's
by then.
professional golf is a long, long road.
Yeah.
Patience is a big part of it, just because there's so many different levels to professional golf,
Mm-hmm.
right? To make it all the way to the top where you can actually make decent living, right? It's a long road. There's only 200 cards out there,
Yeah.
and 125 of them keep them for sure, right? So it's a small circle, but a lot of people have made it, right? A lot of people unexpectedly made it that weren't like standouts as a junior, and there were standouts as junior and college players that you felt like were the next big thing that never made it. So patience, and just got to keep going, one foot in front of the other, and see how far it takes you. But outside of golf,
Yeah. So what things do you do? I'm sure there are days where you're tired of golf. If you ever had those days. No. Yes.
not really, to be honest. I just
Wow,
love it. I
that's
love
awesome.
struggling in golf
Why is that funny? He loves struggling.
Everyone struggles.
because
Struggle's
it's
good.
I've taken a new like I used to hate struggling, just kind of like just pack it in, but struggling is kind of fun.
I imagine Keith hitting a freaking like shank, like hitting a driver, and hopefully it never happens, but you hit a driver, it fucking slices 200 yards right off the driving range.
I shank it all the
And he's
time.
enjoying that.
He's just there, he's like, yes.
I'm not gonna be like yes. I'm gonna be like, holy
What a
smokes!
slice.
It's like, oh my goodness, I just did that. What did I just do? It's not like I'm not a maniac. I'm like, oh my god, yes, I'm in the trees. Like, holy smokes, this is
Oh
super
my God,
fun.
I'm last place. Yes.
But I mean, enjoying as in like I enjoy
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
figure
Yeah,
out
no, no,
what's
no,
going
no.
on.
Yeah,
Not
love
as in
flip-ups.
like
Yeah,
a
that's funny.
psychopath. Just
Take it
like,
out of
I'm in the
context here.
trees.
Just
Yes.
sculled it across the green. Yes.
It's, I make a lot of mistakes out there, trust me, but I don't let it get to me. I shank all the time. I've putted from the green and missed the green.
Oh fuck.
It was, remember the first hole. This was the tournament that I won. The final round, the first hole. I had 60 feet away, and I was like, oh, it's pretty slow. It's pretty wet. First part of the day. Let's give it a whack.
Yeah.
Oh, I gave it a whack, and it was off the green.
That was me
And I was,
rescue
Yes.
I gotta grab my wedge here now. I gotta chip this next one. I can't even putt it. That's how far it went off the green. It was in the rough. But outside of golf,
Wow, that's okay. That's good then.
yeah,
Good, but I'm sure there are times where you do stuff.
where I just hate it. Yeah,
What do you do outside of golf? That's sort of, yeah, it's not golf.
I've been really into Formula One lately, so I spend a lot of my Sunday
Right.
mornings.
You want to be a Formula One driver?
Dude, those things are so stupid fast.
Stupid fast.
Oh my gosh.
And you don't see much out of your helmet,
Yeah.
right? In the position that you're in, a lot of feel. But
If you were into golf, you'd be a Formula One driver.
well,
Those
In a parallel universe, in a multiverse.
they
that'd
are
be so
cool.
hard. I've gone to Formula One quite late, but I've really enjoyed watching it. Outside of golf, I really don't know, Andrew. I walk a lot, like going on strolls, but I
Mhm.
wouldn't consider that like an
That's something.
activity, right? Hanging out,
enjoy
cooking,
nature.
right? That's one thing I
Ooh.
love to do.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
forget
How can I
that.
forget that?
I forget
Barbecues.
that.
Because some things I do is just kind of like you just do it. You don't remember that. Like
Ladies
that's
he
what I
cooks.
like to do. But I love to cook.
Yeah.
Love to watch cooking videos.
Ooh.
What a well-rounded
What's your
person
favorite
here.
cooking videos? Do you watch YouTube cooking or like TV cooking?
TV cooking's hard because you have the time and there's so many
Yeah.
ads. I used to love watching I love watching the masterclass or like
Oh,
YouTube binging with Babish.
I love that guy.
Yeah, I think he explains it really well,
Yeah.
concise, doesn't put extra scenes that are not needed into it. A lot of like the Food Network stuff, it's just a lot of pictures of
Yeah.
food. It's kind of like, can we just
Mhm.
Have you watched
Hurry it
Aiden
up.
Films?
what?
Aiden Films. He's this guy in Japan. He just posts like it's basically like no talking, nothing. It's just straight cooking.
Oh no,
Like
I
he'll
haven't
cook in
seen
his
that.
backyard. It's basically like ASMR but cooking. He would cook in his backyard.
ASMR cooking?
This that it's not ASMR, but it's like just no talking, just straight cooking. That's it.
Oh,
And he'll do like teppanyaki. Like he'll sit at teppanyaki place. He'll do like wagyu,
Ah.
this, that, and a third. I love watching those videos, man. It's crazy.
Cooking.
I'll definitely check that out because I do love food. Although I don't look like I like food just because I'm 135 pounds soaking wet. But
Yeah.
I do love consuming food.
That's a whole different topic, but we
Yeah.
both know how hard it is to gain weight. It's
Yeah.
a pain in the
Fast
ass,
metabolism.
man.
But that's another thing where I've looked back on it and I say to myself, did you really try that hard?
Yeah,
Because if you really did, you would have took a different approach to it.
yeah.
You would have been much more strict on eating hours and all that kind of stuff. So that's another thing I'm looking back on, and I'm kind of like, yeah, you didn't. Yes, it's harder than the average person to gain weight, but you haven't tried that hard,
Right.
and I know that, but it's just something you got to work on.
Yeah.
And I think just got to do it. And so far, I've been a little bit lazy in that department, but we'll get it done. I think when I get another moment with myself where like, oh, I'm not that young, I'm gonna start gaining weight. Maybe that will hit me to spend more time on it.
The older we get, the easier it is. So our metabolism is not always gonna be this fast.
That's true. But you don't want to wait till you get old.
Yeah, I think you're old and just like
just old
you're just gaining weight
just
with no
old and
athleticism. It's just like,
Balloon out
oh
of nowhere.
shoot.
Don't you draw too, Keith?
Yes.
Remember you're really good at drawing in elementary school.
That's another thing where I look back on and I'm not that good at
Really? I
drawing.
thought
Oh,
you were
for
pretty
sure.
good.
In comparison to like a really
Okay,
average kind of whatever, sure. But thinking of all the talented artists out there,
Oh, yeah.
not even close. Like,
mean-
even in our class, right?
I mean, no, in the class you were the better ones.
Well, yeah, I really enjoy it. And I've been, with COVID, I took up painting a little bit.
Right.
Paint with my
Ooh.
friends, buy canvases and paint.
Hmm.
And it just reminded me how difficult it is to be really good at things, right? Some
Seems
people
like-
make it look really easy, but I think we shouldn't
But you don't-
discredit the amount of time they spend.
Exactly. I feel like when you call someone talented, it's almost backhanded because it's like, oh, you're discrediting the hours they put in.
Yes.
But then the people saying that don't mean it that way, but it's like it sounds like that.
Oh, for sure. Like 100%. There's a lot of things out there that people are really good at, and you're like, oh yeah, they make it look so easy.
They're so talented.
Well, yeah, they spent so much time working on it to make
Right.
it look so
It's like, oh, why can't it be like that? Oh, well, you didn't put freaking 100,000
right.
hours.
And it's interesting topic too, as in how many things can one person really be good at? Right? Because everyone spends time on working something that they really like. But what if they're really talented in other things, but they just never discovered it? What they were natural at things,
Well,
but they never got the chance. But you can always say like, well,
you
never happened. So
well, you just gotta try things.
I feel like that.
That's what you gotta
the
do.
more I work out, the worse I get at golf. That's what I noticed.
Really?
Yeah, because I get so stiff and I
Okay.
can't move this sense. Like I have to concave my chest more and
Yeah, no, that's why.
all that.
Yeah,
oh,
that's why I switched my workout routine.
I was the best at golf when the gyms were locked down.
oh yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah. It's a balance,
Yeah.
right? And I think when golfers work out, they're not really
They're doing much more
bodybuilding
athletic.
You're
workout.
doing more bodybuilding stuff,
Yeah,
right?
they're doing much more athletic, pushing this, that, and
Yeah, yeah. It's more of things.
your stuff.
I love that. So
Yeah,
fun.
right. I was looking forward to seeing someone to help me in that department, but with Omicron, we got one assessment session and half a workout, and then had to call it. So next time I'll see him is probably May,
Hey.
late May. So
May?
well, that's when I come back, right?
Hopefully.
Honestly, if I knew you were working out and Omicron never shut shit down, I would have definitely texted you and be like, yo, let's go to the gym. Because I was texting like all my friends like, yo, let's go work out, let's go work out.
Oh yeah.
So-
Well, by the time I came back, we had 2 days of work. I worked out one day at Anytime and one day with Andrew, and it was gone. You couldn't go.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny.
I was looking forward to it, but then they shut everything down. And next time though, hopefully everything's open back up by the time you get back.
Yeah, who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows where Omicron's gonna take us? It's a
This is
ever-changing situation.
the fourth variant? I don't even know
No,
anymore.
it's not even. It's not the fourth. It's probably like 6, I think.
Oh, God.
Well, you have original COVID. You had
And there's a second one.
I don't remember the names, but you had the one from South Africa. You went from Brazil.
And Delta.
You had the one from the UK. That was Delta. You had one from
I didn't know there's that many.
somewhere else, and then you had Omicron.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
You had 2 from South Africa. Actually, Omicron was the second one from South Africa, technically discovered in South Africa, whatever. But it's probably the 5th or 6th variant we had.
It is. It definitely has lingered a lot more than I
So
thought.
way more.
I thought that this summer was like, oh wow, things are opening up, and then when I left for school, like, whoa, things are really opening back up.
Yeah.
And then I was like, whoa, we are on the path.
Well,
Like,
it's
we're
like-
so many British Columbians
Yeah.
are vaccinated, and you're like, oh,
We're good.
that's the ticket.
Yeah.
It's like,
But the thing is, like, once like we solve our shit, we get rid of COVID as much as we can. Everyone else still has it, so it just takes. Once we open the border back up, someone's gonna fly in from a country that has a bunch of it. And I don't know how you end this, to be honest.
herd immunity. Everyone gets it.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor, so I don't really
Like,
want to speak
every-
on it.
Every country has it, so it's like, how the fuck do you end this?
Well, if every country has it, then we're good. I guess
I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. But
that's what herd immunity is.
But
I don't know about that one.
Well, no.
We need to bring a doctor next time.
yeah, bring in
Who's
a
a
doctor.
doctor?
Bring in
here.
Bonnie Henry. That'd be crazy.
Hi guys, Bonnie Henry's.
What's up,
Hi
Bonnie?
guys, we got the provincial health officer here on today's episode.
Sergeant.
The pho.
The pho.
What else do you want to talk about? We can end it here if you want. It's been
I feel like we just need a second episode just for Keith to talk about all the introspective things in life, because
Yeah,
I feel
there's
like
a
you just
lot.
have so much.
I'll definitely have you back on.
Talk about life.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
I love talking about life,
It's been that would have been cool.
death, life.
Yeah, I talked about death
Yeah.
Oh,
in
did you
my
know-
previous episode.
Yeah.
I was like, what happens after death? And then I can't fathom
You're
the
just dead.
darkness, the zero, the nothing.
You're just
It's
dead.
it's more like,
I can't.
can you imagine before you were born?
I can't.
No. Can you even imagine your first 3 years of life? Really much? I don't have much memory of that.
Can you imagine just dying and then nothingness?
No, it is what it is, man. You can't do anything about it.
Like, I can't imagine it.
Well, the thought and of dying. Well, this is another thing that I thought about is it's kind of weird, as in you are just your brain,
Yeah, that.
You
This is
are
all we
just
are.
your brain. Yeah,
That's all we are.
right?
Filled with
Like,
a
as
soul.
in you think about like who you are, end of everything, consciousness is a really interesting topic because, like, am I my brain? Like, I could have been a heart organ, I could have been anything, but I am the brain and I control this body, right? If I was, I could have been a different cell in this body, but I am the brain.
It's crazy when you think about things like gut feelings and deja vu. It's like this freaking piece of fat is that complex and that smart and intelligent. It's just insane to think about.
Did you hear how people said deja vu is just a memory from your past life?
Could be.
I used to be really into this life after death videos and dying and brain and all these TED Talks, but I've kind of gone through that phase.
Existential crisis.
Really?
And you just spiral and just forever.
Spiraling. Yep. I spiraled quite a few times. Kind of, once you realize it, it's not fun, but it's kind of like, as long as you realize that you're spiraling.
Well, I mean,
it's like when I had sleep paralysis. The second time I realized I
you get sleep paralysis. Yeah, paralysis too. Paralysis.
I had it twice. First time I thought I was gonna die. I couldn't move. Right, because you can't move. You're just awake.
I've never Just, so, like, you saw Jaden.
I saw the podcast.
Right?
Yeah. I didn't see anything, but I thought if I didn't turn over to my side, I was going to die.
That's so scary. And
just because I felt like I was being crushed, so that's why I need to turn over. And I couldn't breathe.
Wow.
But that was the first time. The second time, I was on my side already, and I was looking. I was like, I can't move. And I was starting to panic, and I was like, oh, I have sleep paralysis right now. And then I kind of just enjoyed the ride, knowing that it'll be okay.
But you never see anything.
Never said anything.
Or hear anything.
No, second time was kind of funny. It's just like, oh, haha, I have sleep paralysis. I can't move. I'm just like, okay, so I just got to wait it out, huh? But the first time I was genuinely scared.
Yeah.
Heavy breathing. Just.
And then paralyzed.
Yeah.
No. Jaden saw stuff and heard stuff. Like, that's even scary.
Yeah, that is very scary, luckily. But then sometimes, I don't know if it's because, this dead space between my glasses. When I look over really quickly sometimes, I feel like I see things.
Because your glasses.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's, I'm hoping that's what it is. Because sometimes, like, holy fuck, I psych myself out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, shit, what the hell was that?
No, I never had sleep paralysis. But as a child, I was very scared of, like, being alone or, like, in the dark. Because my brain would just play tricks. Like, I would just imagine stuff.
Really?
Yeah, like, I would just think, oh. Like, I think that's just, I don't know if that's natural. It's like, oh, there's something in that room. Like,
yeah.
That kind of feeling, right?
I think it's a kid thing, like, especially when you're the only person on, like, the first floor.
Yeah, do you get that? Where you're, like, scared. Like, you're on the first floor and it's all dark.
Yeah.
And you turn off the lights and you run down.
Yes. I think that's what everyone knows.
Yeah,
like, if you're in the basement,
right? Yeah.
And like your parents, you have to turn off the lights. You turn off the lights and you zoot up.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty common thing.
No, to this day, low-key.
Oh,
when I first moved into the house, I saw a black shadow. And I remember one time I was doing laundry and I heard my mom say, like, oh, Jaden. And I walk over to her room, was like, did you say something? She's like, I didn't say anything. So I'm like low-key creeped out by my house still. It's only after midnight, though. After midnight, I'm like,
no,
fuck.
To be honest, I still kind of sped up the stairs.
Yeah, I definitely do a little speed walk up the stairs.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
It's eerie. It's so quiet.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not used to it.
Yeah, I guess. It's just uncomfortable.
Just certain moments I'm like, oh, it's a little too quiet. I don't like this.
It's only in my home, though. Like, home.
Yeah.
Like, everywhere else is kind of like, I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, that's interesting.
It's just home.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know
like,
why.
You go downtown at night and you're walking by yourself, super dark.
Dark parkades, whatever.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to start running around the parking lot.
Yeah. I was driving through the Abbotsford back roads, like pitch black after midnight because the road got redirected. I felt more comfortable in that than I do with my lights off at home.
Yeah, but at home.
I think it's just because you're so comfortable at home, like any sort of uncomfortable feeling.
Maybe just childhood trauma.
That could be.
It's just been so long that it's just.
You guys got childhood trauma? We don't.
No,
this podcast is getting too. It's already an hour
your mom
30.
watches this. You want to talk about your childhood traumas?
Oh,
Your mom's gonna come back like, what you say about me? Like a belt.
No, we could go on forever.
We could go on forever.
We really
So many
could.
topics. Life topics is one of those that is ever evolving.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Your perspective always changes. A couple months from now, who knows? Right? Who knows what our perspective on death is?
I mean,
Who knows what perspective on life, the meaning of life?
Are you religious?
Yes.
Christian, Catholic?
Christian. It's a weird dynamic. Like
How do you?
my parents are really religious
Yeah.
Christian. So I guess if I tie in with them, I'm Christian, but I haven't been to church in a while, so I don't know if it. So
How do you feel about the Bible's accuracy after being translated 10,000
I was
times?
gonna ask, how do you feel about the white Jesus?
Oh no, I want to ask about that after, but that we can save for another day. Just that one base.
you know what? I'm religious, but I'm not knowledgeable on
Yeah.
religion,
Yeah.
right?
Not a scholar.
Yeah. So I couldn't answer your question because I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
how do I feel about
But how
it?
do you personally feel just knowing that it's been translated like X amount of times? Because Jesus wasn't speaking English; he was speaking like
Oh, for sure.
Arabic or Hebrew or something.
Yeah,
So
of course.
like we've used Google Translate before.
So one thing that's really comforting is always knowing that is the optics of the Bible, right? It's
What do you
how
mean?
you interpret
Mm.
Oh, that's what you want.
the meaning. You know what I mean? You don't take it literally.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I said. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Maybe that's just the Christian way, right? That's just what they tell us as
Yeah.
kids.
I feel like we should ask every guest that, just see what
But-
they say.
Yeah, but at the same time, it gets kind of dangerous because it's like
Interpretation.
because it's like you can interpret your own way and take it out of your own context, out of
Yeah.
context, and put it
I mean,
warp
you
it.
see
right?
COVID and Trump and stuff like that. Like they definitely took the Bible a little too far in some cases.
Who knows? I don't know. But I guess the Bible's, for me, it's a bit more personal. It's kind of like you interpret it the
Yeah.
way you want it to. Is
That's
meaning.
true. Yeah, but
Right.
it's obviously right and wrong because then it's like then you start stepping on
Yes.
moral relativism, where right or wrong is up to you.
Yeah, right.
That's what it's.
Yeah.
I think it's funny because you're kind of like, so where do you draw the line?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there
so-
is a line. It's just some people push it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't been to church in a while, and I don't know, it's just a little bit weird.
I don't know where to go with
We
this.
wanna end.
We can literally go for 4 hours.
I
think,
know.
and I don't want to.
You can end it. You can
We just
always-
need when you come back, May, right?
May.
I leave on the 8th, so
So
you
this-
can record something and just spit it out
No, we
later
need,
in the year.
we need
Let's do the math here.
4 months of
This is
maturity,
episode 6?
so we can come back and have a crazy one.
Episode 6
I'd
is
come back and be
January
like, oh,
1st.
I had such a
Fuck all
shitty
that.
semester.
10, 14,
Golf is just not right for me.
18,
I might
22,
start playing football.
26. That'd be like episode 30. I don't even know.
I think
Actually,
it's good. I think it's good time.
But
to get back
that's-
to 30.
34. I don't know.
That's my goal, right? My thinking is that you have the rest of your life to work. So now is the time to try something of your
Yes.
career.
That's
And
what
if it doesn't
I-
work out, you can
That's what I'm saying.
you have the rest of your life to work.
That's what I keep
Yeah.
saying.
So who knows? Maybe when I come back in May, be like, you know what, guys? I tried, gave good effort. Golf isn't for me. It's time to start working.
It's just time to become a Formula One driver.
Yeah.
Dude, Formula One is so
But-
insanely fast. They're going like 200, easy.
But yeah.
Yeah, 200 in a corner.
Yeah.
Turning.
Jesus. That's,
You're
I
going
love-
like 300 kilometers down a
watching the
straight.
training.
Dude, they're going so fast. They got to change tires every couple laps.
And the crazy thing is,
You see the TikTok training of Formula One
yeah,
drivers
the
training?
one you're looking at is Max Verstappen, right?
Oh, he's like
Ooh, that guy.
turning really.
Oh,
that's
I saw
crazy.
that.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
The neck training to handle the G forces.
That kid's our age almost, or just a bit older, right? 25?
Max Verstappen.
26, yeah.
26. I think.
Yeah, 24,
Googled it, I
26.
forgot.
Something like that.
But yeah,
Try things. If you're 20, if you're in your 20s right now, go and try things.
Yeah, we're still kids, so we're 30. So
well,
Even-
as long as you don't have financial responsibility.
Oh,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, it's a privilege, obviously, but
Yeah.
if you're living at home and you don't have much responsibility, go do stuff. Don't just focus on
Yeah. You don't want to be sitting on your deathbed being like, oh shit.
what if.
I should have dropped a mixtape.
Drop that mixtape.
I should have started a
I
podcast.
should have started a podcast.
I should have texted her.
I should have texted her. I should have. No.
Yeah, I should have texted next thing you would have got it. Don't think so.
You want to be like, oh, remember I did that? That was so embarrassing, but I'm glad I did that.
That was me like 3 months ago, probably.
What?
What did you do?
What'd you do?
I just know everything I do within 6 months. I'm like, ooh, that wasn't a good idea.
Wow, that character development is fast.
Yeah.
6 months.
Sometimes you just do something on the spot. You know it's not a good idea. But
Oh,
you
in
just
the
do it.
moment?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like,
Mm,
shit, this could go both ways.
I'm gonna regret this one.
yeah. But you did it. Okay. I guess that wraps it up.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Any lasting thoughts here?
No.
No?
Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Thank you for coming.
Of course, we're honored to have you here.
Oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
I can talk forever.
Yeah.
We
Sometimes
could all talk about this forever. I feel like we need.
Sometimes
a
people
second
just need
episode.
to tell me to shut up. Sometimes because I
No.
I do
It's
talk
actually
a
very
lot.
interesting.
Then you just need to find the right people to listen to you.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Jeez.
I'm just saying that in general. That's a
Oh,
blanket
okay.
statement. I'm not
Yeah,
like calling
okay.
anyone out. But it's true.
It's crazy
No?
because we haven't spoken this much ever. I think.
Oh, yeah.
And just seeing this like with the last 2 days, I'm like, damn, this is like
No.
I want to talk to you a lot more
well,
now.
you don't talk a lot. Remember, we were in the same
Oh, yeah.
Miss Hayes. What's it? Arts and Crafts.
Oh,
10.
that's I was trying to get out of that.
No, it was arts and crafts. You were in that class.
Yeah.
We were put in that class because there were.
There was too much room. There wasn't enough room in cooking.
Yes. So
And
they threw us in there. Yeah.
They made a class. Just throw the extras in there.
And we had the teddy bears and whatever.
Yeah.
I remember that.
This wraps up the podcast. Thank you, Keith, for joining us today. This was very fun. Very, very stimulating conversation.
No, my pleasure,
This was
Andrew.
great.
My pleasure.
We could go on forever, but these podcasts have been very long. And the last week's episode was an hour 40. And today's podcast is also around an hour 40.
Well, why don't we make a part 1, part 2? So you
I think we'll do part 2 when we come back.
Yeah. We'll just keep it long, whatever. It's okay.
get
'Cause
lost.
I want to see the progression of like what happened in the X amount of months.
And
between
also,
all of
I want
us.
to see our progression too if we're still doing this.
Yeah, we might just
Sure.
come by and chill at a mall or something.
Change names like 5 times to be, hey guys, welcome to episode 3 of
The Pineapple
the salmons.
Boys.
Yeah.
Salmons.
I don't know. I see that over there.
Oh, I forgot that was there. But yeah,
You live here.
I don't know why we have that. It's a First Nations.
Anyways, back to the topic of wrapping it up.
But yes,
Wrap it up.
this was great. This podcast is good because we never have opportunities to talk so long like this. So this podcast is an excuse
Why are you looking at me, man?
to talk.
Oh, this is great. I appreciate it, Keith,
Yeah.
man. This is amazing. Episode 6, right?
Episode 6. Yeah. Thank you for listening. If you're listening, you know what to do. If it's on YouTube, hit the subscribe button.
Hit the like.
Hit the
all
like
that,
button. Comment down
notification
below.
bell, Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah. Go watch our TikToks. if
Add us
you're-
on LinkedIn. Fuck it.
We don't have LinkedIn.
Personal LinkedIn's.
I don't use that.
Drop on the bottom. Yeah. Anyways,
Um,
mahalo for your
follow my
kukua.
Follow this boy right here.
Sorry. Follow Keith thing. We'll drop his socials.
Yeah, we'll do that. And then
Follow my
Sure.
Twitter.
if you're single and ready to mingle, this boy is here.
Single, ready to mingle. He plays golf. He can cook. He's got a lot of stuff going on for him.
Very intelligent man.
Very intelligent man.
I
Gotta
wouldn't say
life.
so.
No
I
internal
wouldn't say
monologue.
so.
No internal.
No internal monologue.
That's what I want to talk about.
But now it's for the next one.
I know.
Next.
Because that's like a.
Yeah. Thank you for
I
watching,
forgot.
listening,
Yeah.
all that, and we'll see you for episode 7.
See you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah.